Hello there, I'm Matteo, the Chief Mobile Opinionist here at the Tech Travel Geeks. And this is the Tech Travel Geeks side-by-side comparison of the iPhone 11, launched in 2019, and the iPhone 12, launched in 2020. If you don't already, please do subscribe to the Tech Travel Geeks here on YouTube. Right then, so it may come as a surprise to many, but this year, in 2020, I purchased an iPhone 11. It was a particularly good deal from one of my network providers, and I decided to take the plunge, and in the view of, in this case, having a better understanding of iOS so that I can understand the mobile landscape a little better, I decided to purchase an iPhone 11, and it has performed very well in the first 7 or 8 months that I've had it. iOS takes a bit of getting used to if you've been, like me, using Android for a decade now. And the iPhone 11 I chose in red, or product red, is a basic 64GB model with no extra lenses. It's not the Pro model, and it does all the basics that I was expecting. I have to say, the screen is nice and it is quite responsive, but there are some quirks in iOS which were quite frustrating, and that's the sort of thing that kept me from putting my main SIM card in the iPhone 11. One thing that I was particularly not too happy about is the screen. The screen on the iPhone 11 is perfectly good. Most people won't notice the difference. But it's an LCD screen, and it's a particularly strange low resolution. So it is branded by Apple as a liquid retina display. But if you actually look at the display, it's 800 pixels by 1792. So it's a sort of custom display. But the problem is that it's not really full high definition. In this similar price range, I would expect to at least have a full high definition display, if not an AMOLED or OLED full high definition display. Apple really cut out on that, but to most people that really won't make a difference. And the frustration here is that if watching full high definition video, you're not actually getting that resolution. Especially when watching, say, for example, a Mr. Mobile or an MKBHD high quality 4K video, you do notice that difference. And when the iPhone 12 was announced, I decided that I was purchasing one. The main bugbear I had was about the screen, and I'm happy to report that Apple have actually fixed that issue, because they have, in that £700 to £800 price range, brought us an AMOLED screen, or an OLED screen, with a full high definition display. So I'm much happier about that. For video, for the fact that in the dark it is much better with dark mode on. The iPhone 11 is noticeable as having a backlit LCD screen, and so I'm really happy with that feature. Not only that, they've kept the screen size the same size as on the iPhone 11, but because of a different industrial design, they've gone back to that sort of iPhone 5 or iPhone 4 flat side. They've managed to make the device significantly smaller, in part due to the fact that it's an OLED screen. It doesn't need to have as big a bezel. So I'm really happy with that, the fact that the screen is better. And there's a few other things that have been improved, most notably the camera in this case. So on paper, the camera here is pretty much the same. It's a 12 megapixel f over 1.8 on the iPhone 11. It's a 12 megapixel f over 1.6 on the iPhone 12. So that is a significant jump up. And then the other lens, as on the iPhone 11, is a 12 megapixel 13mm f over 2.4 wide angle lens. It's an ultra wide angle lens at 120 degrees. And I was quite pleasantly surprised about that on the iPhone 11, and pretty happy with it on the iPhone 12. It's still early days, but overall I have to say I am quite happy with that. So for the non flagship or non-pro models, Apple have done a good job at bringing some modern features to their smartphones in the iPhone 11 and improving on those in the iPhone 12. The key thing that I'll be working on when I edit video is the facility to be able to record 4K video at 60 frames per second. I'll also be messing around with some HDR video on the iPhone 12. The iPhone 11 isn't capable of that HDR video, but that's not a big issue. Overall, it's still a great video camera, and one that is on a par, if not slightly better than, for example, my Pixel 4 XL was. I haven't done a comparison with the Pixel 5 because realistically the iPhone 11 won't be competing with that device unless someone wants an iPhone at a lower price. But in terms of direct competitors, the iPhone 12 is competing against the likes of the Google Pixel 5, the Huawei P40, and the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE or Fan Edition. So obviously we're going to be doing some more side-by-side comparisons between the iPhone 12 and those devices, but it's important to bear in mind that that price range, that £700 to £850 price range, is where the non-flagship, so these mid-range devices now by Apple standards, are the ones that for most people are the best value for money and the ones that will offer most longevity in terms of updates. And it's not just Apple, I'm going with that whole category. So Apple have done a really good job with the iPhone 12 at all those upgrades, at improving what they had built with the iPhone XR or XR, and then the iPhone 11. And with the iPhone 12, they've really got a polished product that fixes a lot of those trade-offs that we'd seen in previous years. One trade-off I'm not really very happy about is that color. So the iPhone 11 is a proper red. It's got that proper red color to it. Whereas side by side, as you can see, the iPhone 12, though it is a red product, is pretty much orange. And that's really, really annoying because Lukesh and I were out filming at the weekend. I deliberately wore what I thought was a red flannel shirt, and then in comparison to that, the iPhone 12 really looked a bit orangey. Now this isn't really a big issue, because as you will see on the Tech Travel Geeks YouTube channel, or you may have already seen, we have a series of case videos where I review cases for various devices, including the iPhone 12. And this orangey red iPhone 12 is going to be in a case, so that won't be a very big issue. Now, one thing is clear, these are glass sandwich devices. There's glass on the front on that AMOLED or OLED screen. There's glass on the back. However resistant or sapphire reinforced or Ouija boards enchanted that glass is, it's still liable to shatter. So although I am crazy, I have an iPhone, I am not going to be not having it in a case. So expect more crazy videos of crazy cases that I have purchased on AliExpress or Amazon. We'll be covering those on the Tech Travel Geeks YouTube channel as well. So overall, there's some fundamental design changes, some fundamental feature changes in the iPhone 12. It's a really good upgrade. I'll be saying goodbye to my iPhone 11 tomorrow. I'm sending that off to Samsung because I've traded it in for a Samsung Galaxy S20 FE. This is a 5G device, just like the 5G on the iPhone 12, whereas the iPhone 11 was only 4G. For most people, that 5G feature won't be usable. There aren't 5G networks that you can comfortably use in most markets at this point in time. The also other difference is that unlike the US version of the iPhone 12, you don't have millimeter wave, so you don't need the extra cutouts for that millimeter wave antenna, as we saw from the US version. But one thing I would say is, as MKBHD said in one of his videos, I'll put a card in this video and also a link in the description. This whole category, that high to mid-range category, is really very, very interesting because it's taking a lot of the features from flagship smartphones, such as the iPhone Pros, and putting them into a more affordable, more accessible package for the average consumer. And for most people, that will be more than enough. So iPhone 11 or iPhone 12, it really depends on what your needs are and, more importantly, what your budget is. You can pick up an iPhone 11 for around about £500 nowadays, whereas the iPhone 12 is £799 or £849 if you're going to go for the extra storage. 64 gigabytes was more than enough for me, but this wasn't my main smartphone. I never put my main SIM card in it, and I wasn't really using it as a media player. Whereas I do intend to be doing more video capture and photography with the iPhone 12, so I did splash out an extra £50 for the 128 gigabyte model. While other smartphones, such as the Huawei P40 and the Samsung S20 Fan Edition, in the same price category have expandable storage, the iPhone doesn't offer you that, and it's something you need to get used to. So that pretty much sums up my side-by-side comparison of the iPhone 11 and iPhone 12. For what it's worth, without a case on, I actually prefer holding the older iPhone 11. On the other hand, with a case on, I prefer the iPhone 12. So just a little thing about ergonomics and my specific hands. So, as I said, that wraps things up nicely. I'll be saying goodbye to the iPhone 11 tomorrow. Maybe this might just be correlation. You decide if it's causation. Maybe 2020 is as 2020 as it is because I have actually purchased 2 iPhones in a year. Just think of that. The Android guy has 2 iPhones for a while. Anyway, if you don't already, please do subscribe to the Tech Travel Geeks here on YouTube. And if you would like to ask any questions, please do leave a comment in the section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you soon.